Hello and welcome. Guys, I'm sitting on the floor for the first time. It's the first video that I've ever done that I haven't been standing for an entire hour of Supergirl. So, this is very exciting stuff. I'm here today to answer your questions for the Q&A video that I have promised you for a couple weeks now and haven't gotten around to because I am lazy and the worst. But here it is now, and we're gonna just get right into it. I received a lot of questions, mostly about Supergirl, so that's what's coming up. I kind of just sorted through them and found ones that I could best answer. So, off we go. These questions are mostly anonymous from Tumblr, so I don't have credit for any of you because you're all anonymous. It's fine. Question 1. If you were part of the Supergirl creative team and you were going to introduce Mon-El as a character, how would your version of Mon-El and or Daxamite culture be different from the show's? Also, would you have chosen a different actor? This is kind of a hard one to start out with. Right off the bat, I don't know that I would have chosen a different actor. I mean, there's so many different white male actors that could have been in his place as Mon-El. I really don't think it would have mattered what white dude you picked to be Mon-El. I think I would have felt the same way about him regardless. But if I were a part of the creative team, I probably would have argued against doing it at all. I probably would have said no Mon-El from the beginning because I think that it's easily one of the most recognizable tropes to have a male character who's kind of like an irredeemable bad boy. We've seen it over and over and over and over and over again in television over the course of many, many years. And I think I would have argued against it altogether. However, if we were outnumbered, we being me, and the rest of the creative team wanted to continue with his storyline and to bring him on as a character in season 2, gosh, I think my version of Mon-El would have been, I think the only thing that I could have done to make his character better would have been to prolong the arc of his redemption. So I think what's most unrealistic to me right now and what bothers me so much about him right now is that his character arc, his development, his suddenly redeemable qualities came like that. And I don't think it was enough time to have seen that kind of develop. I don't think we saw it develop in a realistic way. I think that there was no justification for him to become suddenly a good guy. And I think if I were writing it differently, I would have spent longer, perhaps the entire season, moving with his arc and having other characters contribute to that arc. So I actually got a really interesting comment on my last YouTube video. So this comes from Alex Androsol. It kind of really highlighted what I was thinking and put it into words when I really couldn't. And it says, this is about Mon-El. It highlights one of the problems I have. Every character's plot is in its own world. Alex can only interact with Maggie and Kara. James can only interact with Wynn and Kara. John can only interact with Alex, Kara, and Megan. Mon-El can only interact with Kara. Everything is split into these separate worlds. The characters only truly come together during the actual plot. So I would go even further as to say that they really don't even come together in the actual plot. And I wish that Maggie could influence Mon-El. I wish that Alex could influence Mon-El to be a better person instead of it just being Kara, because Kara really isn't reaping any benefit from him. She's just there to make him a better person, which is what I was trying to illustrate in that reaction last week by saying that women aren't here to elevate your shit, they're not here to fix your problems. If Kara's not benefiting from the relationship, it shouldn't be a relationship. And that is how I feel about it. So, moving on. Why and how did you start watching Supergirl? Pretty much the reason I started watching was for Melissa, because I was previously a Glee fan, and of course she made her stint on Glee, and I remember seeing on CBS, when it used to air on CBS, that Melissa was going to be playing Supergirl, and I watched from the beginning, and I watched before Sandburrs, before Mon-El. Yeah, and it was really fucking cool, season 1. Rip season 1 right now. This is off the Supergirl agenda right now. How did you realize you weren't straight, and where on the spectrum regarding bisexuality do you lie? I like to say that, and again, this wasn't really developed until recently. I always thought that I was just, I always knew I was bisexual. I knew I had the potential to like a man, but I've always kind of been like 80-20. So 80% I'm obsessed with women, and 20% the potential of falling for a guy, which ended up happening, and I'm glad that I didn't close myself off to that experience. And I tell my boyfriend, like, I only like you, and that's it. Like, no other dudes. It's just like him and then every female in the world. So yeah, 80-20, my dudes. Who was your first girl celebrity crush? Gosh, before I even knew what even it was to be queer, definitely was a big fan of Sarah Michelle Gellar in the Scooby-Doo movies as Daphne. Like, had a huge crush on her. I didn't really know that I had a crush on her, but yeah, definitely did. Who are your top 5 female and male celebrity crushes currently? I'm gonna cut you off right there and say male, the list is not long. The list probably only includes like maybe Grant Gustin. Like, that's pretty much it. Female, God, the list is extraordinarily long. If I had to pick a top 5 currently, maybe only 3, because I only wrote 3 down. Floriana and Kyler, I guess 2, that's 2. Priscilla Faya, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she is one of the actors on the show You, Me, Her, which is currently one of my favorite shows, and you should watch it if you are not already. She is like the hottest human being I've seen in a very long time, and on the show she's just fabulous. So yeah, and fourth I guess, guys, if you don't know anything about CrossFit, you should invest in an hour or 2 and just Google CrossFit women, because you will never be the same. My current CrossFit celebrity crush is Sarah Sigmundsdottir. She is Icelandic and super hot, and you should look her up on Google. That's all I got. How is your boyfriend with the fact that you are attracted to women? And I love whoever asked this question. Again, it was anonymous on Tumblr. And I love this question because it's like a huge part of our relationship, and it actually is like a really cool part of our relationship. He's super interested in just the way that we can talk about women and both be attracted to women. And it's actually really awesome. Like, just imagine, just being like, it's like if you were dating a girl, you'd both be attracted to women. And I'm dating a guy, so we're both attracted to women at the same time. So it's like, it's really, really cool. What made you want to study film and video production? And I think there's another question on here that says, I think at one point you mentioned you worked in television directing. How did you choose that career path, and how is it for you so far? So I'm going to answer both of these questions in the same answer. I decided that I wanted to work in film / television and media in college. So I was 2 years into college already, so that's half of the time that you're going to spend there, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And I remember I went to a lecture that actually kind of finally solidified. I had dipped my toes in the water a little bit. I was taking a couple film classes and I really liked them, and then I ended up going to this lecture for, I actually don't even remember who it was who was speaking, but I remember he said that he was interested when he was a kid in like becoming a doctor and becoming a, astronaut and becoming a lawyer, all because he saw these depictions on TV like NCIS and Grey's Anatomy, and and he was interested in those depictions of those careers and how they were dramatically played out on television. And he said that he talked to his dad about it, and his dad said, well, it sounds like you're more interested in film. It sounds like you're more interested on how these things are portrayed on screen than you are with the actual jobs themselves. And I really resonated with that because I was the exact same way. I thought that, you know, I wanted to be a detective because of Rizzoli and Isles, and I wanted to be a doctor because of Grey's Anatomy. And I finally thought to myself, no, you want to do film, and you want to be able to write the portrayals of these things and kind of get the best parts of them and put them out for people to see. And another reason, I guess, was that I pretty quickly realized after kind of watching Glee, which is really ironic, that portrayal and accurate representation in media is just it's a hugely important part of my development as a person, and it was a hugely important part of me figuring out who I was, and what, you know, my sexuality and all that. And I realized that if I could do that and help other people kind of figure out what they were all about, and using that media representation and being able to write those characters would really be fulfilling for me. And I think accurate representation in media is one of the most important things in my life, and it's one of the most important things that I hold very close. So I was like, let's do that. How is it going right now? I work in media and I work in sports promotions editing, so, you know, I'm in the sphere, and I really love my job, but I'm not quite where I thought I would be, and I'm looking to do more writing related things. But like I said, I love my job right now. It's a fantastic job, and get great benefits because I'm a fucking adult and I need healthcare. What made you want to do reaction videos? And do you have any advice to people who want to start making them? Honestly, I've never done reaction videos before, and I've always been a very close follower of other people's reaction videos. Back in the Glee days, I used to religiously watch California Love 84's Glee reactions. Huge shout out to her, because that's kind of why I wanted to start doing them, and also because my humor in the reaction videos has been kind of molded and shaped by watching her reaction videos to Glee way back in the day. But I decided to start doing them because I was having a lot of feelings about Sandvers, and I really wanted to share those feelings, and I just kind of pulled the trigger and I just started doing it, and I didn't really think about how big of a thing it would end up turning out to be. So my advice to you, whoever wants to do reaction videos, is be committed, because it's a lot more work than you actually think it is, and keeping up with people's comments, keeping up with actually doing the reactions and the time it takes to edit the videos, blah blah blah, it all stacks up and it's a big time commitment. So if you want to do them, dedicate yourself to doing them, and then don't stop, because it gets a little bit challenging sometimes when you have a busy schedule. What do you think about non-binary Alex and asexual Alex headcanons? Are you cool with them or not so much? Honestly, I think that would be really appropriate for her character. And I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but I could see Alex identifying as non-binary or asexual. Maybe not asexual so much as non-binary, just because she's kind of already in canon. I guess it's a headcanon, so yes, I'm totally for those headcanons, but in canon we've already kind of seen her be sexual with Maggie, and that's a huge step for her, just because we've seen her say I never wanted to be intimate with men, and now she's comfortable being intimate with Maggie. But as a headcanon, totally fucking for that. I think there are not enough non-binary, and actually not enough, there are none. There are no non-binary, with a few exceptions, in media representation of non-binary or asexual people that I've seen. So more of that, please. What is your favorite movie? And what is your favorite LGBT movie? My favorite LGBT movie, it's not hard to guess, Imagine Me and You. It's one of the first LGBT movies that I saw that like moved me to tears. I just remember watching it and just like, I was probably, 16. And that was when I was really kind of struggling with who I was. And I remember watching that movie and just weeping, just like sobbing at 3 a.m. So it's a tie actually between Imagine Me and You and Bound, which is an awesome fucking movie if you haven't seen it. It's incredible, and I love it for so many reasons. The fact that it's LGBT being one, but another is because it's so well written and the plot is so fucking good, and the plot uses their queerness, the two main characters, and the fact that they're both women as like a way that they pull off this massive heist, and it's fucking amazing. I love it. This question says, I know it's been a year, but how did you react to Lexa's death? I'm actually going to make an entire video about this, kind of like a year later tribute. And I have a lot of words to say about this, honestly. Not enough time in this video to say all of them. So expect at some point a dedication video to Lexa, and probably going to talk about how I reacted and just the legacy that she left and the reason why her death was so traumatizing for so many people, but it also brought about a lot of really relevant and really positive change in the world of media with regard to queer representation. So expect that at some point. What was your first fandom and ship? I think this was before Tumblr even, I think, existed. My first fandom, my first die-hard fucking ride or die ship, OTP, was Jack and Kate from Lost. I know, it's hetero. You weren't expecting that, were you?
Well, hello. I bet you weren't expecting this either. But I'm sitting here editing the video and have come to realize that I may have lost some footage. So this is the official end of the video, and I hope to see you soon. I will be reacting, surprise, tomorrow to the finale of Legends of Tomorrow. So if you want to check that out, it's happening. And thank you for forgiving my error in filmmaking. I am truly ashamed. But I'll see you tomorrow.
Hello and welcome. Guys, I'm sitting on the floor for the first time. It's the first video that I've ever done that I haven't been standing for an entire hour of Supergirl. So this is very exciting stuff. I'm here today to answer your questions for the Q&A video that I have promised you for a couple weeks now and haven't gotten around to because I am lazy and the worst. But here it is now, and we're gonna just get right into it. I received a lot of questions, mostly about Supergirl, so that's what's coming up. I kind of just sorted through them and found ones that I could best answer. So, off we go. These questions are mostly anonymous from Tumblr, so I don't have credit for any of you because you're all anonymous. It's fine. Question 1. If you were part of the Supergirl creative team and you were going to introduce Mon-El as a character, how would your version of Mon-El and or Daxamite culture be different from the shows? Also, would you have chosen a different actor? This is kind of a hard one to start out with. Right off the bat, I don't know that I would have chosen a different actor. I mean, there's so many different white male actors that could have been in his place as Mon-El. I really don't think it would have mattered what white dude you picked to be Mon-El. I think I would have felt the same way about him regardless. But if I were a part of the creative team, I probably would have argued against doing it at all.